Abraham and Abimelech.
The Chronological Bible puts the Bible in proper timeline order with all the stories interacting with each other, plus mixing up with the Psalms. It's like watching history unfold in front of you. The descendants of Lot. Genesis chapter 19, verse 30.
Genesis 19:30.
Please guide me. Chapter 19, verse 30. Then Lot went up out of Zorah and dwelt in the mountains, and his 2 daughters were with him, for he was afraid to dwell in Zorah, and he and his daughters dwelt in the cave. And now the firstborn said to the younger, Our father is old, and there is no man on the earth to come
Chronological
to us,
Bible,
as in the
Old
custom
Testament.
of all the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him, and that we may preserve the lineage of our father. And so they made their father drink wine that night, and the firstborn went in and lay with her father, and he did not know when she lay down or when she arose. It happened on the next day, that the firstborn said to the younger, Indeed I lie with my father last night, let us make him drink wine tonight also. And you go in and you lie with him, that we may preserve the lineage of our father. And then they made the father drink wine that night also. And the younger arose and lay with him, and he did not know when she lay down or when she arose. Thus both the daughters of Lot were with child by their father. The firstborn bore a son, and called his name Moab, and he is the father of the Moabites to this day. And the younger, she also bore a son, and called his name Ben-Ami, and he is the father of the people of Ammon to this day. Abraham and Abimelech. Genesis chapter 20, verse 1. And Abraham journeyed from there into the south, and dwelt between Kadesh and Shur, and stayed in Gerar. Now Abraham said to Sarah his wife, She is my sister. And Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah. But God came to Abimelech in a dream by night, and said to him, Indeed you are a dead man, because of the woman whom you have taken, for she is a man's wife. But Abimelech had not come near her. And he said, Lord, will you slay a righteous nation also? Did he not say to me, She is my sister? And she even said herself, He is my brother. In the integrity of my heart and innocence of my hands, I have done this. And God said to him in a dream, Yes, I know that you did this in the integrity of your heart, for I also withheld you from sinning against me, and therefore I did not let you touch her. Now therefore restore the man's wife, for he is a prophet, and he will pray for you, and you shall live. But if you do not restore her, know that you shall surely die, you and all who are yours. So Abimelech arose early in the morning, and called all his servants, and told all these things in their hearing. And the men were very much afraid. And Abimelech called Abraham and said to him, What have you done to us? How have I offended you, that you have brought on me and on my kingdom great sin? You have done deeds to me that ought not to be done. And then Abimelech said to Abraham, What did you have in view, that you have done this thing? And Abraham said, Because I thought surely the fear of God is not in this place, and indeed she is truly my sister. She is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife. And it came to pass, when God caused me to wander from my father's house, that I said to her, This is your kindness, that you should do for me in every place wherever we go. Say of me, and he is my brother. Then Abimelech took sheep, oxen, and male and female servants, and gave them to Abraham, and he restored Sarah his wife to him. Abimelech said, See, my land is before you, dwell where it pleases you. And then to Sarah he said, Behold, I have given your brother 1,000 pieces of silver, and indeed this vindicates you before all who are with you, before everybody. Thus she was rebuked. So Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Abimelech, his wife, and his female servants. Then they bore children. For the Lord had closed up all the wombs of the house of Abimelech because of Sarah, Abraham's wife. Chronological Bible, Transition Time, the birth of Isaac. Both Abraham in Genesis 17, verse 17, and Sarah in Genesis 18, verse 11 and 12, laughed in disbelief that a couple well past childbearing age should bear a son. Yet in fulfillment of God's promise, Abraham, aged 100, fathered Isaac, through his wife Sarah, aged 90. Sarah's first concern was for her new son's status as Abraham's heir, a status threatened by Hagar, son of Ishmael. Ishmael was now about 14 years old, being 13 in his circumcision. An ancient Near Eastern law code describes the practice of giving one's maid as a second wife, and see the birth of Ishmael in Genesis 16. The law provided protection for the children born to the second wife. It prohibited disinheriting of the firstborn son or a slave's wife, Ishmael. In the event that the barren upper-class wife should later bear a son, Isaac, however, the upper-class wife's son would supersede the slave's wife's son as the legal firstborn. Furthermore, the slave's wife and her children could be offered their freedom, in which case they forfeited their freedom inheritance. Isaac did become Abraham's heir, representing one case in which a younger son received the inheritance and
Isaac
blessings.
is born.
Isaac is born. Genesis chapter 21, verse 1. Holy Spirit, please guide me. And the Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did for Sarah as he had spoken. For Sarah conceived and bore Abraham a son in his old age, and at the set time of which God had spoken to him. And Abraham called the name of his son who was born to him, whom Sarah bore to him, Isaac. And then Abraham circumcised his son Isaac when he was 8 days old, and as God had commanded him. Now Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born to him. And Sarah said, God has made me laugh, and all who hear will laugh with me. She also said, who would have said to Abraham that Sarah would nurse children? For I have borne him a son in his old age. Hagar and Ishmael depart. Chapter 21, verse 8. So the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast on the same day that Isaac was weaned. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, whom she had borne to Abraham, scoffing. And therefore she said to Abraham, Cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not be the heir with my son, namely with Isaac. And the matter was very displeasing in Abraham's sight because of his son. But God said to Abraham, Do not let it be displeasing in your sight because of the lad, or because of your bondwoman. Whatever Sarah has said to you, listen to her voice. For Isaac your seed shall be called. And yet I will also make a nation of your son of the bondwoman, because he is your seed. So Abraham rose early in the morning, and took bread and a skin of water, and putting it on her shoulder, he gave it and bore Hagar, and sent her away. And then she departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. And the water of the skin was used up. And she placed the boy under one of the shrubs. And then she went and sat down across from him at a distance of about a bowshot. For she said to herself, Let me not see the death of the boy. So she sat opposite of him, and lifted her voice and wept. And God heard the voice of the lad. And then the angel of God called to Hagar out of heaven, and said to her, What ails you, Hagar? Fear not, for God has heard the voice of the lad where he is. Arise, lift up the lad, and hold him with your hand, for I will make him a great nation. Then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. And she went and filled the skins up, and was with the lad, and grew and dwelt in the wilderness, and became an archer. And he dwelt in the wilderness of Paran. And her mother took the wife for him in the land of Egypt.